present images to us of who God is, who we are, what the life of discipleship looks like. And walking the path is one of the most common discipleship images in the Psalms. And so we have this idea of the path, but what you added was the steps, right? So there's movement that takes place here, but when we probe the image, where is Adonai?
The foundation.
Adonai is tachat. Tachat the path, right? So what's the difference between trusting on God, when God is understood as the ground beneath the path, and trusting in God? What's the difference?
I think with God as the, like, under the path, God will carry the path. Like, God can go where God wants, and you trust that. Like, it's like, if the ground shakes, that's God moving. You know, there's a lot more, like, trust in your balance, in everything with that. Like, if you fall, you're not falling into an unknown, you're falling into God. So even when you stumble, it's into God.
And in sounds like in the midst of it, whereas on feels like something's carrying you.
It also feels like to me that when you're trusting on God, if God isn't there, you can't do anything. Like, cause there's nothing, you can't stand on anything. As opposed to like, in God, it's more abstract. Like, you can do things without God, as opposed to needing Him to walk forward and to roll forward.
It also sounds disrespectful. Like, walking on God sounds disrespectful.
It does.
But also, like, you can believe in a lot of things, you can
Right.
believe in a lot of things and not do anything about it. And so again, it goes back to kind of that like co-creation, co-balance of like, okay, I'm walking the path, who's doing what, but like it doesn't really matter if it's mystical and beautiful, as opposed to like, yep, I trust in God. And you're like, okay, and then what does that mean for the
Yeah, that's connected to the abstract sense. You had your hand up earlier.
I think it also implies more stability. Like, you know, like when people are like, I don't know if this decision I'm making is the right thing. But when God is the path, it's less about the right steps and more about walking on God. So it builds a framework of foundation as opposed to like thinking through the way we do of like steps and black and white. Walking on God implies stability, and that it's less about you and more about the fact that God is the stability.
It also distances, like, we trust in people, and that like fails a lot of the time, right? And so like by changing the language to like on, that I think in my mind at least sort of like distances like God from like people in a good way, of like saying like God is so much more trustworthy, and that like on language, like the stability, whereas trusting in people